What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing a very fun triple dragon theme team in the Fantasy Cup. On paper, dragon is the worst typing in this meta, but there are a few dragons that have very nice coverage for steel types, which is definitely the most common typing in this meta. As well, the most common fairy in this meta by far is Tapu Fini, and with the majority of them in the lead, Giratina handles it quite well. As this team is built mainly to take on steel types and Tapu Fini and Giratina, it actually does struggle a bit against other dragons like Dragonite, and of course most charm users will absolutely destroy this team, but despite that I still managed to go positive in every single set bar one whilst running this team, so that is pretty impressive given the limitations with the dragon typing in this meta. So with that being said, let's get into the question of the day. What is the most underrated Pokemon in the Fantasy Cup meta? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, and I will be showing you what happens when we do come across a Charmer in the lead. And because we're not swapping out here, we're pretty much revealing that our team is very weak to Charm, so my opponent is going to shield the Shadow Ball there, which is very bad for me. I'm going to come in with my Flygon. I will get to the Earthquake faster than my Haxorus, so I'm going to shield the Moonblast here, and my only hope to win this game is if they let the Earthquake go through here, and they do, they let it go through, but they've got a second Charmer. And not just any Charmer, a Togekiss, which will resist all of the moves from my Haxorus. So I did reveal the third dragon before exiting that battle. There was literally nothing we could have done there. But luckily for me, there aren't too many double Charm teams in this meta. Certainly not with a Charm lead and then a Charm in the back. But anyways, into the next battle up against a much more common Fairy type in the lead. We're seeing Tapu Fini, and we do resist the Water Guns here. So this is actually a pretty good matchup if we do shield the Moonblast, which we did there. I actually think I probably could have just farmed them down, but this was my first battle running this team, so I wasn't really paying too much attention to the counts. I didn't really understand the matchup that well. But here up against a Giratina altered form, you can see I'm running the Origin form. The only reason for that is because it is less bulky, it's less meta, although I do think the Origin form is very good in this meta. And here we go for the Earthquake, we land it, it does so much damage that I will now be able to fully farm them down, come out with a Dragon Claw loaded, and I'm actually going to be able to get to a second Dragon Claw up against this Giratina. First one lands, but unfortunately it's a CMP tie. Can we live the Dragon Claw here? Yes, barely. We survive with just a few HP remaining. That's perfect. We grab the final shield here, and now at this point I'm actually not sure we can take them out with a Night Slash. It is of course non-stab. Haxorus has a massive attack stat. You can see that Dragon Claw did so much damage, so instead I'm going to go and catch the move on my Giratina. Dragon Claw takes us out. I now can get to the Earthquake and just guarantee I get that KO. And Earthquake obviously going to take out the Giratina, and I'm able to take that game. Honestly, I think I probably could have just gone for the Night Slash and then farmed down with my own Giratina. But anyways, into the next battle, we see an Empoleon in the lead. Gonna go for a Shadow Ball here, and if they let this go through, I will be able to fully farm them down, but they have farmed up a ton of energy. I will shield. I'm actually not quite sure that was enough energy for the Blizzard just yet. I think they might have needed one more Waterfall, but that's absolutely fine. Gonna play it safe, go for an Ominous Wind bait, and honestly, I don't know why I baited there, but luckily for me, my opponent does shield the first one. Now I can go for the Shadow Ball. Gonna swap into my Flygon, and they're staying in with the Steelix of course, because Steelix has a very good matchup here. They're gonna go for the Earthquake. That does a lot of damage, but we do live it. We get to our own Earthquake, and they do shield it up. And if you're wondering why I'm running Earthquake on my Flygon, I think this might be one of the first Pokemon I ever built for PvP, and it was long before Flygon had a community day. It does have pretty awful IVs, but I don't really care. I don't want to build a new one just for this cup, and I'm not using an Elite TM either. But here I'm able to catch the charge move onto the Giratina, and it's actually an acid spray, so I will get to the charge move. And here I go for the CMP tie. I'm so used to using these glass cannons that win CMP up against everything like this Haxorus, so unfortunately I did lose the CMP tie there. But now I'm gonna undercharge, and can I get to the Earthquake? Yes I can. perfect play there. Honestly, once again, I don't think Earthquake was necessary. I think I could have just gone for a Night Slash, but I go for the Earthquake. We take out the Steelix, and I take that game. Into the next game, we see a Registeel in the lead, and I'm pretty much just going to let them throw a move here and then swap out, I think. But they are running Flash Cannon, which is not that ideal because obviously Flash Cannon is neutral. They're going to come in with a Dragonite, and that's not ideal either, but we do have an energy advantage, and we might make it to 3 Dragon Claws up against this Dragonite. So we go for the second one here. Can we get to the third one? No, we barely don't make it, and that is really unfortunate, but that's just how it goes. And here, we're not going to win the CMP tie, of course, and I know they barely don't have enough for a second Dragon Claw, so I will go for an Ominous Wind, hoping this will be enough to take them out. It barely isn't, but we do farm them down, which is great. I'm now going to go for a Shadow Ball and then just let this Giratina take me out, hoping that Haxorus can take on whatever is in the back as well as this Registeel. So gonna let the move go through. Flash Cannon takes us out. We come in with the Haxorus. I'm just gonna overfarm a ton. They're gonna go for the charge move. I will shield this, of course. Flash Cannon would do big damage. Gonna keep on farming up. Go to nearly 100 energy. Go for the Night Slash. This will be taking out the Registeel, and they come in with an Escavalier, and this is the reason why we're running Earthquake. We go for the CMP tie. This time we do win it, and Earthquake one-shots the Escavalier, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see another Tapu Fini in the lead. Honestly, I think the majority of the leads that I saw were Tapu Fini, so that's really great for my team because Giratina obviously does quite well as we do resist the water gun damage. We land the Shadow Ball once again, gonna shield, and they do go for the Moonblast straight away. This time they're gonna swap out into their Giratina. We're gonna go for an Ominous Wind bait up against the Giratina. We grab the shield. I don't think I got a single boost with Ominous Wind whilst running this team, but it doesn't really matter too much. I was gonna swap out there, but I realized I could get to the Shadow Ball, so I commit there and we land it. It does so much damage. It puts them into range where I can farm them down, and they're gonna blindly throw their charge move. They have to, but they threw a Shadow Sneak expecting a Steel type to come in, so that's perfect. That doesn't do much damage whatsoever. And here they're going to come in with their Escavalier. We're going to commit to the Earthquake once again. An Earthquake, if it goes unshielded, will do huge damage, but they do actually shield in this matchup, and I guess that does make a lot of sense. They've only got a very low health Tapu Fini. I'm going to shield here, swap into my Haxorus. They come back in with Tapu Fini, and I'm going to commit to the full counter farm down, get to the Earthquake, and once again, Earthquake will be one-shotting this Escavalier, and we take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see a Dragonite in the lead. Now, this is pretty bad for my team. Unfortunately, the only super effective move I can throw here will be Dragon Claw from Flygon, but it is very likely that they will shield in this matchup, and it looks like they're actually just going to fully commit to Dragon Breath farming us down. We go for a second Dragon Claw. It doesn't do that much damage, unfortunately, and of course, they do double resist the Mud Shots, so yeah, we're not in a very good position. This Dragonite is very close to back-to-back Dragon Claws. I will double shield and hope that I can Shadow Claw farm them down before they make it to a third Dragon Claw, but it's going to be a very tight one, so we're going to have to see. No, we cannot get there, unfortunately. They do get to a third Dragon Claw. We're extremely low at this point. It is not looking good whatsoever. They're going to come in with Escavalier though, which is really good for me. Giratina goes for the Shadow Ball. It lands. It does big damage. We can get to the Night Slash, throw on the CMP tie, and this is great. Hopefully they let this go through, but they do shield it up, and I hope that they go for an Acid Spray here. Nope, gonna be a Drill Run. That nearly takes me out. They come in with Empoleon, and even though we've got two Dragon types here, Empoleon Waterfall farms down both of them and takes me out there. So GG's to that opponent. You can see up against a Dragonite, this team really is gonna struggle, but I haven't seen too many Dragonites, certainly not in the lead, so we won't have to worry about that too much. But my opponent gonna go for an Earthquake here. You saw I ran Earthquake Extra Drill in my previous video. I saw they counted to 8 before throwing, so I had to be wary of it. But it does now allow me to get to 2 Shadow Balls here, and this will grab both shields from my opponent. I'm now gonna shield and then swap into my Haxorus and go for a full counter farm down if they don't swap out, which they don't, which is great for me. But now they've got a Charm Gardevoir, but we make it to the Earthquake, and this Earthquake will do massive damage to the Gardevoir. It puts them into farm down range, and I'm actually going to come in with my Flygon as I will get more energy from the farm down here. And they come in with a Lucario. This is going to be game over. We get to the Earthquake. We could probably undercharge this fully, and Earthquake still would take out the Lucario, and I'm able to take that game. Into the next game, we see a mirror lead, and honestly, I don't play Master League, so I don't really know how annoying this matchup is in the Open Master League. But here, I'm just going to go for an Ominous Wind bait. My opponent does call it, and they full send the Shadow Ball, but I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm going to come in with my Haxorus, but not before they get to a charge move here. So I'm actually going to go for the Shadow Ball and then probably get a shield and then swap out into my Haxorus. We go for the Shadow Ball. We can come in with the Haxorus now. I will have to shield up in this matchup as Drill Run will do absolutely huge damage to the Haxorus, but we can safely farm them down, and we're going to see what they come in with next. My opponent is going to come in with a Genesect, so I'm going to full send the Earthquake here. There's no way they respect the damage here, and Earthquake one-shots the Genesect. Insane damage there. Going to go for a Night Slash. This should be grabbing the shield from my opponent, and my switch clock is nearly up, so I'm going to swap, catch the move perfectly onto my Giratina. Shadow Ball takes us out, and at this point, I'm going to come in with my Flygon, and my opponent actually just concedes the match there. Not a lot they could do, and we're able to take that game. Into the next game, a Registeel in the lead. They're going to swap into a Charm Granbull, and this is very awkward for us now. We're going to go for the Ominous Wind, going to try and make it to a second Ominous Wind, but we won't get there, so I'm forced to swap out of this matchup, come in with my Flygon, and my opponent is probably recognizing that I'm very weak to the fairy typing, so I probably should just go for double Dragon Claws. They're probably going to shield, and they do shield, which is really not great for us because now I've got to come in with my Haxorus. They will actually make it to another charge move before I can take out this Granbull, and it is not looking good. One more charm will do massive damage to the Haxorus. Gonna go for 2 counters here, go for the Night Slash. This should be taking them out, and they've got an Escavalier in the back. I'm gonna bank a Night Slash, go for the Shadow Ball. I really wish this would take them out, but unfortunately it's just not enough damage, and they do have a charge move loaded now. We go for the Night Slash. This will take out the Escavalier, but we just don't have enough health or enough energy to get to a charge move up against the Registeel, and unfortunately they do fully lock on, farm us down. But even if we had a little bit more health, they would have got to a Focus Blast just as they took me out there. So GG's to that opponent. Once again, Charm absolutely ruining our life, but that is absolutely okay. We're not going to see too many Charm users in this meta, so my opponent's going to swap into a Giratina. We've got so much energy. We're going to be spamming these Dragon Claws at an alarming rate. This Giratina probably just isn't prepared for it, so we're going to go to nearly 100 energy, go for a Dragon Claw. This will be doing big damage. We go for another Dragon Claw, and we're just one mod shot away from a third Dragon Claw in a row, and we get there. They go for the farm down. They don't get the farm down, and Dragon Claw grabs both shields from the Giratina. Now I can come in with my own Giratina, fully farm them down. I will be able to tank 2 charge moves from this range, and I should leave with very minimal health, but pretty much a charge move loaded. Now we do bank the Shadow Ball there, come in with our Haxorus. I'm going to have to shield in this matchup. They go for the foul play, and now they're going to come in with a Tapu Fini, and all shields are down, so we can safely go for the Earthquake. Earthquake will do massive damage to the Tapu Fini. Can we get to the Night Slash? Barely not able to, which is unfortunate. Moonblast takes out the Haxorus, and now we have to commit to the farm down, and we barely get it. We have like 2 HP remaining, a Shadow Ball loaded, and Shadow Ball takes out the Berserker, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we see an Escavalier in the lead, and they're staying in, so they're clearly weak to Giratina in the back. or they don't really have something that they can safely swap into, so it might be their own Giratina. I'm just going to go for the Shadow Ball just before we make it to 100 energy, and I'm actually going to undercharge this so I get one more Shadow Claw through before we farm them down. They come in with a shiny Shadow Scissor, so a very nice flex. Gonna go for the Ominous Wind here, then swap into my Flygon, and my opponent stays in for a while, and then they come in with an Empoleon. We're going to go straight for that Earthquake. It does get shielded, which is unfortunate, and at this point I realize that I don't need to shield Flygon at all. I can safely come in with Haxorus, shield once, fully farm them down, and go for an Earthquake into that Shadow Scissor, and even if they had 2 charge moves loaded, it doesn't matter. Earthquake will win the CMP tie, and my opponent recognizes that, so they concede the match. Into the next game, we see Registeel in the lead, so once again, gonna stay in initially, wait for them to throw their energy, and assuming they've not got Flash Cannon, we will resist it. They go for a Zap Cannon, it debuffs my attack, and then they swap into Tapu Fini, so I'm actually just gonna stay in. They of course did debuff the attack, but it doesn't matter. 2 Shadow Balls will be enough to take them out, and this isn't actually enough for a Moonblast, so I'm going to call that it is just a Surf. I was counting, and that's a bit of a strange play by the opponent. We can get to a Shadow Ball and another Shadow Ball up against this Tapu Fini, and we might even force both shields, which is exactly what we do, and we force them to throw their energy as well, so that is perfect for us. We're going to let the Surf go through, come in with Haxorus, gonna farm massively down this Tapu Fini, shield once. This could now be a Moonblast finally, and it is the Moonblast, but I get a very nice farm down. Gonna go for the Night Slash up against this Giratina, and go for another Night Slash straight away. As well, I don't think I got a single Night Slash boost, which is very interesting because I must have thrown between Ominous Wind and Night Slash about 20 to 30 of them, so very unlucky for me, but I guess we don't need the boost to win in these games. Gonna go for the Dragon Claw on the CMP tie, and now it's just a case of whether my opponent can make a very nice catch, and we're going to continue to overfarm. They did go for the catch as if we had Earth Power, but we're not running Earth Power, we're running Earthquake. An Earthquake does massive damage, it still doesn't take out the Registeel, but one more Mud Shot does, and I'm able to take that game. Into the next game, we see Excadrill in the lead. My opponent's going to stay in initially, and we're going to overfarm. This time, be wary of an Earthquake, but they only throw at 7, so they were going for a CMP tie. We don't throw straight away, so that's fine. Going to go for the Shadow Ball, and Shadow Ball will grab a shield from the Excadrill. I'm going to swap into my Haxorus. Wasn't meaning to catch there, but I was hoping to take them off guard if they did try to overfarm. I'm now going to go for an Earthquake after overfarming myself, throwing just before they make it to a Moonblast, and it does land. It does so much damage, and at this point I'm going to shield and fully farm them down, come out with a decent amount of energy to throw into whatever comes in. And they come in with a Giratina, so going to overfarm, go for a Night Slash, and go for another Night Slash before they get to a charge move, and this is great. And if they go for the full farm down, actually no, I'm not even going to let them farm me down. Gonna come in with my Flygon, they go for a Dragon Claw, and we're going to go for our own Dragon Claw before they get to another one, and at this point that should be pretty much game over here, as my opponent, actually no, they make a brilliant catch onto their Excadrill, and now we're actually not going to be able to farm them down, barely not able to. I go for a CMP tie, but it doesn't matter. They take me out, and now their Giratina has so much energy that actually I think we might lose this one. We're going to come in with Haxorus. I'm expecting them to throw straight away. I do have a little bit of residual energy on my own Giratina. Can we get to the charge move? No, and my opponent, even though it looked like we were in a pretty comfortable position, they pulled off the win there, so fair play to them. Very well played. And into the next battle, we see another Tapu Fini, and we are now a bit more familiar with this matchup, so we will farm to 10 Shadow Claws, throw on the CMP tie, and this Shadow Ball does grab a shield from the Tapu Fini. I'm also going to shield, respect the Moonblast damage. They actually bait me with a Surf, which is obviously not ideal, but I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball here, no messing about, not going to overfarm too much, go for it, and it does land, which is great. And I think now I will shield. It will be a Moonblast, and my opponent going to swap into their own Giratina. So once again, going to bait them with an Ominous Wind, and this should be grabbing the final shield. So now I'm going to swap into my Flygon. Basically use it as a damage sponge. They're going to go for a Dragon Claw. That doesn't take me out. We go for a Dragon Claw. I think this might be a CMP tie. And it is a CMP tie, which is great. This Dragon Claw barely won't take us out, but that's fine. They're only going to get 2 extra Shadow Claws through. And now at this point, I'm going to come back in with my own Giratina. We should get to a charge move. No, we barely don't get there, but hopefully we can live this. And we do live it. We get to the Ominous Wind, and this will put them low enough where I should be able to farm them down with counters, and I am able to. And now they come in with a Waterfall Primarina, so thank God it is not Charm. We're going to overfarm massively, make sure they don't catch it. Earthquake, one-shots the Primarina, and then we counter, farm down the Tapu Fini. And we just took out 2 fairy types with Haxorus. That was insane. And now into the final battle of this video. We see Empoleon in the lead. Empoleon really good for us wherever we see it. In all honesty, all 3 Pokemon have very good matchups, but they're going to swap into Tapu Fini, and this is perfect. This is the matchup I want for my Dragons. I want Giratina aligned to their Tapu Fini. They go straight for the Moonblast, so I now will commit to the full Shadow Claw farm down. This is just going to be a Surf, so that's fine. We can easily tank that, and we come out with nearly 100 energy. They're now going to come in with another Fairy type. Unfortunately, this one is a Charm user. We get to a second Shadow Ball, which is perfect. We need this damage to land, and it does land. It does quite a lot. But unfortunately, we're still not in the best position ever. I'm going to farm up to what would be the Earth Power, go for a Dragon Claw bait. I know they're going to shield, and now they swap into Empoleon. This is perfect for me. This gives me an easy win condition. I can shield once, fully farm down this Empoleon, and I will come out with pretty much 100 energy. We can go straight for that Earthquake, and even from much higher health, Earthquake takes out the Clefable, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. I had so much fun running this team. Who would have thought a triple dragon team would do so well in a meta filled with steel types and fairy types? Certainly I didn't expect it to go this well, so I'm very happy about that. I hope you did enjoy the video, and if you did, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. With that being said, let's get into the shoutouts from my previous video. So firstly, we got Eric Ophiush, who says acrobatics on a Mulga would make it super relevant, and honestly I don't know why Niantic put so much focus into Boom Burst, which doesn't really help any Pokemon out, when acrobatics would have been a much better previous Community Day charge move that would work on a lot of other Pokemon like Emolga. Next we got Mr. Mimikyu, who says giving Psychic Fangs to Salamence. Salamence desperately needs a bait charge move, and Psychic Fangs might be the perfect option as it does debuff the opponent's defense, making the fast move pressure from Salamence even more intense, and the fact that it learns Dragon Tail or even Fire Fang to cover for the ice types and steel types would be very good along with Psychic Fangs. Next we got Cola Guy 33, who says they should have given Rock Slide or Thunder Punch to Breloom, and I actually think this would be really cool to give Breloom some sort of flying type coverage, as right now it gets absolutely destroyed by pretty much any flying type in the meta, and sure, if he gave it Rock Slide, it's still not going to be able to beat most flying types anyway, as it does take double super effective damage, but it does give it a lot more play. And finally, we got Professor Beans Eater, who says Astonish into a Snarl clone, and this wouldn't make it OP. Shadow Claw would still be a lot better, but it would certainly make a lot of Pokemon that currently are completely useless and turn them into viable Pokemon. So I definitely think Astonish desperately needs a buff. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.